Hey everyone, it's Rich Dallas here with Berkshire Hathaway, the Dallas-Fincham team, and we are back for another episode of Q&A Sunday where we're tackling your questions that we get every single week. So today's three questions, two of them are going to be related to the closing, which is going to kind of go in line with what we've been talking about over the last couple episodes, and then one we're going to have a little bit of fun with. So the three questions for today are, when did I get the keys to my house? Is it possible to buy and sell a house in the same day, have closings back to back? And number three, how many bridges are there in Pittsburgh? It seems like there's so many. Okay, so question number one, when do I get the keys to my house? Here in Pennsylvania, and specifically I can talk about Pittsburgh, we are a possession state. So when you sign the paperwork at the closing, you get the keys to your house. You don't get them before, you don't get them 10 days later. You don't negotiate that timeline unless, again, that's something that you do negotiate when you write up the offer. But typically, when we go to a closing, you're going to have a buyer and a seller, and they're going to transfer the keys right then and there. In today's day and age, buyer and seller are most likely going to be in different rooms. The keys will most likely be wrapped in a hand sanitizer wrap or wipe to keep everything sterile because of COVID. But you get the keys as soon as you sign all that paperwork and you hand over the check to the closing company. That's when you get the keys to your house. Next question, and this came up in the same situation. Is it possible to have back-to-back closings on the same day? I'm buying a house and I'm selling a house. How do I make that work? We get that question a lot because a lot of people need that money from one house to buy the next house. So we got the question this week was, can I close as early as possible on my new house? I'm not sure, my other closing's in the afternoon. And I said, but don't you need the money from the house you're selling to go to the house you're buying? And he said, yeah, of course. Well, you can't do that. Unless you don't need the money, you need to have the closing on the house you're selling early in the morning first, and then we have a couple of hour window, and then you close on the new house that you're buying second, because we need to have time for the wire transfer to go from one closing company to the other closing company. If it is the same closing company, and that is when it's ideal, you can actually do them back to back. You can go from one house to the other house, sign it, and be done in a real quick second. So yes, it is absolutely possible to do a back-to-back closing in the same day of buying and selling a house. So yes, we can absolutely walk you through that. Reach out to me, reach out to somebody on the team, and we can talk about all of your options as far as doing back-to-back closings. And then the last one, and actually all three of these came up with the same client. And this is one of the people, we get this all the time from people who are relocating to Pittsburgh. How many bridges are there in Pittsburgh? Any guesses? This isn't live, so you're not going to be able to answer me. 446. That is more bridges than any other city in the world. So yes, we are the Steel City. We are Steelers Nation, but we're also the bridge city. A lot of people don't realize that is the case. We actually have 3 more bridges than Venice, Italy. Now, some of the cool bridges that we have in downtown that take you over the rivers, the Smithfield Street Bridge, that has actually been deemed a national landmark. There's been a couple of bridges in Pittsburgh that are national landmarks, but one of the cool things about that bridge, it's actually the oldest steel bridge that's still in operation in the entire country. So that's pretty cool. And then the other one that I think is my favorite, not the bridge itself, but it's Pittsburgh has been said to have an entrance. No other city has an entrance like we do. So when you come through the Fort Pitt Tunnel, you cross then over the Fort Pitt Bridge, which is by far my favorite bridge. And it was absolutely breathtaking. The first time I ever did this, I was with a friend of mine who is still a good friend of mine, Matt. We were coming down 376 into the tunnel. At the time, I think 376 was actually called 279. But we were coming in, we went through the tunnel, and before you get to the tunnel, you can't even see the city of Pittsburgh. And then, bam, right there. It hits you smack down in the face. You go over the bridge, you see the point, you see the stadiums, you see the city, you see everything. And Pittsburgh has the only entrance of any city in the world like that. And it is absolutely amazing. I tell people that, the view from Mount Washington is spectacular, but the view going through the tunnel is gotta be your first, opinion of, or your first view of the city of Pittsburgh. So that's the Q&A Sunday for the week. There are 446 bridges in Pittsburgh. You get the keys when you sign your paperwork. And yes, we can absolutely do back-to-back closings when you're buying and selling a house in the same day. Reach out to somebody on the team. You can call me at 412-965-6387 anytime you want, and I will be able to answer any questions you have. I look forward to talking to you. And if you have a question, put it in the comments below, and maybe you'll see it on another episode of Q&A Sunday. Talk to you soon. Take care.